Monster, Monster Man, Monster, Monster Man, Jack and Hunter at it again. Monster, Monster Man, Monster, Monster Man, Monster, Monster Man, Zombies will man the undead. Monster, Monster Man, in your mind under your bed. Monster, Monster Man.
Welcome to Monster Men.
Arr!
Hello, Hunter.
Arguing in my new microphone. I hope it was a loud and hearty arg.
Do you have two turntables and a microphone?
I have one turntable, actually.
Well, let's see the microphone. Can you
Well, you know,
screw
this
things
is
up?
props
Ooh.
to Mr. Jason Brandt, who I always like the sound of his voice that when he does his podcast, and I asked him, I literally bought everything that he has.
Too bad it sounds nice, but what he says is actually really stupid.
Well, he's a fucking moron. Whatever.
This is my phallic microphone.
Oh, we're gonna do a podcast.
Oh, Mrs. Muir.
We can't hear you, Charles.
How's that for a topper? All right, so people,
Been a long time since it's just been me and you.
I know. And we have not talked about horror movies in a while. And so I feel like we're way overdue. So let's just talk about a couple that we both have seen. And maybe we'll talk about each one a little bit non-spoilery. And then we'll just jump into some spoilery stuff.
Sure.
And then we'll each give each other a recommendation. And call it a day.
I like that.
Alrighty.
Hit me, brother. You go first.
All right. Have you seen the movie that probably got the most hype this year? Came to the theaters and then was one of those I think love or hate kind of movies. Did you see It Follows?
I not only saw It Follows, I fell in love with It Follows. I think I even wrote a blog post about it. Like it. Very rarely do I see a movie where like, oh my god, I got a blog about it. I gotta get on my blog. I mean, that's how taken I was by that movie.
I liked it a lot too. It's funny because Jerry, the guy who does our logo, went with me, and he didn't like it.
Really? How's that possible, Mulcahy?
It wasn't his thing. I'm not going to go into what he didn't like about it. I'd rather talk about what I liked about it. And I'll tell you, I thought of you actually when I was watching it because I think one of the things I loved the most about it was this was the biggest homage to John Carpenter. The music, the pacing, the suburban neighborhood during the day.
The opening sequence alone looked like the street from Halloween. It was shot. I think I heard that he used the same lens to shoot the street to give it a sense of depth and make it seem bigger than it was. And the leaves skittering across the oh my god, just
and setting that thing in the suburbs of Detroit. Just that was part of the whole atmosphere.
Yeah, Detroit was a character in itself in the movie, and it gave you a real good idea that you don't want to go to Detroit, but I might live in the suburbs.
Well, except for that house that they go find the.
Oh, that was a lovely house. That would make a squatter run.
So a couple of things I loved about this movie, not to jump around, but we're jumping around.
Jump.
So the kids, we'll get into what it is and all that other stuff. But one thing that struck me, and then I've heard other people talk about the movie, and they agreed with me. The kids come up with a plan to confront it.
Yeah.
And it's a really stupid idea. Like, it has the kernel of a good idea.
Right.
But overall, but I'm like, a bunch of high school kids would probably come up with something that was this much of a good idea, and then as soon as you get this far into the plan, you're dead. Like,
I thought the same thing. Like, oh, wait a second, because I have two teenagers in my house, and when they plan, they see about as far as the tip of their nose. So I was like, you know what? I could absolutely see my kids thinking, oh, this is absolutely going to work.
And then if you asked them about it, they'd be like, well, we just figured that, we'd do this. And, well, then How would you plan on once this happens? Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I could have Googled it when, shit hit the fan. But yeah, I didn't mind that because, knowing that I have kids around that same age, I was like, all right, I understand that. One of the things I liked about the movie, that it was so you couldn't tell what year it was made in.
Yeah, see, Jerry didn't like that.
Because all the cars were old cars from the 70s and old tube TVs. And the only thing that gave you any sense that it was modern was that girl with that clamshell, pink clamshell e-reader.
Clamshell text thing.
Yeah, which stood out like a sore thumb. But I don't know. I think that I think I said it in my post. I think the look of that whole movie, the director was trying to just capture an amber Detroit suburbs 1980.
Yeah.
Well,
even the way the younger girl dressed, she kind of dressed 70s. She had those like long socks, the striped socks and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, that she looked like she should be a camp counselor at Crystal Lake.
And you had the above ground pool.
Yep.
That totally felt like your neighbor's pool from when you were a kid.
And then weren't you like going, is it fall? Why is she in the pool? I thought that was weird. I couldn't even get an angle on what season it was. But it didn't matter.
The main character girl is really pretty.
She got great eyes.
But it's funny because like her sister or whatever is always like, oh, well, she's the pretty one and stuff. And I'm like, you're pretty good looking too.
Yeah, exactly. You got a face that would actually stop traffic.
The kid the main kid who obviously carries a torch for her, I thought was really well played. Because he really played that just like, this girl owns me. And when she's like with the other guys, he's living with it, but you could see him carrying it. He's the schmuck that'll do anything for the girl, and you're like, oh god, I kept dreading where this was going for him.
Well, she was his first kiss, right?
Yeah.
When they were years younger, so yeah, the guy was carrying a huge torch, and she was way out of his league. But he was happy enough just to be in her orbit as a friend.
Yeah. So, that I love. I need to see it again because when they're in the movie theater, and she's like pointing out people and stuff, and you don't realize you see it.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And so, like, for the people watching, the premise is there's a curse on a person that this paranormal being will hunt you down, slowly, methodically walking towards you.
Like Jason and Michael.
So if you get in the car and you drive across town, it will walk, so you have time, because you've driven, but it will catch up with you eventually. And only you and other people who have been touched by this curse can see it. And then if I have the curse, the only way to get rid of it is to have sex with somebody, and then they get it. But the trick, the catch is, if they get killed, it gets passed back to me. So not only do I have to have sex with them, I then have to educate them and hope that enough people get banged down the road that it doesn't come back to me.
Right. And also, it changes appearance every time. So it can be some naked lady with raisin boobs. It can be some weird-looking big guy who comes crawling through your doorway. So, and even if you have, at one point they go away to this kind of house to get away from everything, and even though she's surrounded by friends who were there to protect her, they can't see it when it comes. So if she's not looking in the right direction, they're screwed.
Yeah, like it pulls her hair, and then you
God.
see it from their view, and just her hair gets pulled.
Yeah,
and then but it like throws a chair and it hits one of the other kids, so it can physically affect the surroundings. Like it busts through a door and stuff.
Yeah, no, I thought, and the music was. I also bought the music that night. I came home, I downloaded the music, and I write to it now because that music, it's like doom doom, like that John Carpenter.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hit a note and just drive it, and all of a sudden your heart is like syncopating with the sound, and you're gonna all tense from it. Oh, so good.
There was a little bit of the Sixth Sense in it too, because when you first watch Sixth Sense, you never know where the next ghost is going to be, because you could just like the camera can move this much, and suddenly there's like a ghost standing next to you. And
Right.
with this, you just like you kept looking at people in the background, go, ah! Like they're at a scene by a football field, and they're talking, and somebody's walking across the field, and you're like, oh, it's coming, turn around.
And there's some funny moments too, you know, where remember when that person was walking, and they're all like, "Is that it?"
Yeah.
No, it's not it.
Then you see it kill somebody. I don't want to give away too much, but I thought that scene was awesome.
Yeah. Everything, hands down. I'm going to say it right now. It's June, and it's my best movie of the year. It is #1 this year. I don't see anything topping that for me.
It's definitely a contender.
Because I put that right up there with Halloween as one of my favorite movies of all time at this point. I mean, that's how much
I liked it that much, but I definitely liked it. I thought it was a breath of fresh air, definitely worth seeing. You know, again, in one of those movies, maybe they could have shaved off 10 minutes in the middle, but overall...
Give me 10 more minutes. Give me 10 more minutes of raisin boob ladies.
Good stuff.
Some disturbing following it's. But that was good, man. That's 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. It's probably coming out on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever the kids are using these days.
Blu-ray in July. I have it pre-ordered.
Nice.
Which I'd also never do either. That's how I've been nuts about this friggin' movie.
Oh, great. Well, you know what? We'll watch. Come over. We'll film some shows and.
Exactly. I'll be watching every day for probably a month.
It follows and it chases.
Exactly.
All right. What do you want to talk about next?
Well, I'm going to talk about a movie that surprised the heck out of me, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger's Maggie.
Get to the chopper!
Because I remember hearing, I felt like it was 2 years ago I heard about this movie, a zombie apocalypse movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger is a farmer whose daughter has been bitten by a zombie. And the cool thing is that you don't turn right away. We're at this kind of like this nexus of things are really bad, but humanity hasn't tumbled completely. So people are living with bitten loved ones who are slowly rotting away and slowly losing their human instincts.
There's a long window between when they get bit and when they turn.
Yeah,
it's
which is
gradual.
Painful as it's not a zombie movie really. When you think about it, it's just like it's like a I don't know what would you call that movie?
You know, I called it an undead drama or something like that. Like the thing you have to deal with when you watch that movie is you're expecting like I Am Legend with Arnold, which would have been frickin' that's what you wanted. If you're gonna do the Will Smith kind of I Am Legend, you want frickin' Arnold fighting hordes of zombies or whatever, you know. And instead, you get this quiet character movie where maybe Arnold's best acting ever.
Because he barely spoke.
Yeah, and
but he emoted. But you know what it is? I also watching it. He's very old looking in this movie. He's still Diesel, but he's very old, and I think the character that's come to his face just by Father Time, it was a perfect marriage because he looked weary. Like everything was wearing on him, the state of the world, and most of all, the state of his daughter. And if you have to sit there and watch your daughter die, at one point I was looking at my wife, I'm like, this is like watching someone just die of the worst cancer imaginable, and for an hour and a half.
Except that at some point she could turn around and eat you.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some weird. It's a slow burn kind of movie. Now, it's on demand. When you watched it, the color palette was very washed out. Was that for you too?
Dark.
I didn't know if that was my TV or it's like everything's been kind of like brushed in this.
Yeah, that was like
color.
An Instagram filter on it, making it kind of blue.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I thought that gave it a good effect where you just felt so damn depressed in that movie.
Yeah, again, at the end of it, I was like, "Oh, that was a good movie," but it's not really like a zombie movie. It's a movie with a zombie in it.
It's because you only see a couple of actual zombies in the movie, and the cool thing is when he takes care of them, he has to suffer the repercussions of A, his guilt at what he did, and B, he just took out his neighbor's family,
Yeah.
and he has to deal with that and her. I don't know, man. I thought that was it. It was a gut punch. That whole movie to me was a gut punch.
I think you got to go in expecting a slow burn. You got to go in and just don't expect the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead remake.
Right. And don't expect Arnold to give any witty one-liners or to do any action.
For the zombie completist, this is a good entry of, everybody's got to put a different spin. Nobody's really done the virus taking this long to take hold. So,
right. Yeah, and just centering it on literally it's a 3-person play until Arnold's first of all, that wife was way younger. The second wife was way younger than he is.
She's from The Patriot.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she owned the plantation. I'll tell you, a lot of zombie movies, a lot of them have deal. Oh, you've been bitten, and we've got to deal with it. Like 28 Days Later, one of the best scenes is when the father gets the blood in his eye, and he's like, that's an instant one, and
Right.
that's I think my favorite part of the whole movie when he's just telling his daughter to get the hell away from him,
Yeah.
while he's changing. And you're like, oh my god. I think the best one that ever dealt with it was Dawn of the Dead, the original, when Peter gets bit and he's like, I'm gonna try not to come back.
I'm gonna
Try not to. But that was great because it was like, and it was everybody was like an emotional wreck.
Right. I think what made this harder is that the fact it's a girl. It's
Yeah.
a young teenage girl, who looked a lot like one of my daughters, I think. So I was,
And the crap happening to her was scary, like her fingers falling off.
oh, and just her eyes change. Like she wakes up and her eyes are completely milky white until she puts eye drops in them and kind of sets them back to normal.
And again, that original Dawn of the Dead, the very opening scene is the SWAT teams raiding the apartments where people are hiding their loved ones who have turned.
Right.
And it takes you, like when you were a kid and you saw Dawn of the Dead, you were just like, oh, SWAT guys fighting zombies. Then you watch it, you age a little bit and you're like, yeah, that's what would be going on. People would be totally like, you're not taking my mother. I'm going to put her down in the basement.
Yeah, well, that was the tough thing about in this movie where you could have your loved one with you who was bitten, but the police and doctors would constantly check on you because when it was your turn, they would take you away to the city or wherever they were going to take you.
Quarantine.
You knew that was and they all knew it was going to be a bad place. And I was like, man, if that's my kid, you would have to kill me.
Yeah.
But then what's your option? I get to watch her, and I'm going to have to be the one to take care of her, which is just
And when the
Sophie's
time
choice.
comes, who can do it?
Right. No, it would be like you watch Game of Thrones?
Oh.
It'd be like that chick who put her kids in the boat, and then when she saw zombie kids, the warrior was taken down immediately.
Let me tell you a quick story about that. I have DirecTV. I'm watching that episode. It gets to that big fight with the zombies. I'll try not to get too graphic for spoilers, but the most exciting freaking scene in the history of Game of Thrones is unfolding in front of me. And it's raining
Right.
really hard, and all of a sudden my DirecTV freaking goes out.
Oh.
I go bananas. So quickly, there's an app on my smart TV for HBO Go.
Right.
So I'm like, and then you must go to the website and get an access code for this device. So
You know nothing,
I
Jon
get it.
Snow.
Then I have to fast forward to where I am, and fast forward on HBO Go is like 2 seconds faster than watching the show. So I'm just sitting there like, finally I get to where it cut out.
I think you sit around watching TV a lot like this.
Oh, Cersei. And I finally caught up. But like there was like a 20-minute period there where I was just like I can't stay up till midnight to watch the next airing of this.
No. So I will say Maggie's a really good movie. episode 8 of Game of Thrones is better than Maggie,
Oh my god,
but not better than It Follows for me.
that show is awesome. All right, I've got a movie that you said that It Follows is your favorite movie of the year.
Yes.
I don't know what year this technically came out. I don't know if it's this year or last year, but if this came out in 2015, it will definitely be on my best of list.
Tusk 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. I love when the walrus break dances. I saw a movie called Girl House that is about this house
With Goyles.
way out, like, in the boonies,
Right.
where there are cameras installed, and this company, essentially, it's like a porn house where girls live in the house and they're all smoking hot models.
Giggity Anthony Venturola.
Venturola would frickin' subscribe to this and never leave his house again. And basically, guys log on and watch, and then you can have private sessions with the girls, and they'll strip for you and this and that. So there's one girl gets a job there or whatever, and then this guy who knew her from high school sees her on the site.
Right.
It's like, oh my god! It's like the girl he had a crush on. But what ends up happening? There's this like big goofy dude who is obsessed with the site and talks to the girls, and then gets his feelings hurt and frickin' puts on like a doll mask and finds the house and starts murdering them. And so people are watching on the internet, and they can see the guy coming up behind them, and
Right.
so then they're trying to find where the house is and stuff like that. This movie is so much freaking fun.
That sounds kind of cool.
I mean, think back to Prom Night, Friday the 13th, Valentine's Day Massacre, all those 80s slasher movies that we
Right.
loved, that we grew up on. This is like somebody our age said, I need to make one of those movies, and they did a good job with it. It's just a lot of fun.
Now, is it found footage?
Not at all.
Okay.
There are some, like you see the cameras from the place, but then
Right.
it's not a found footage movie. But
Oh, cool. Because I was thinking, oh my god, if there's cameras, it's probably going to be all like found footage with all these feeds and stuff. But all right, that's good. I'm getting kind of sick of found footage.
yeah.
It's getting lazy. People are getting lazy.
No, but when I saw this, I was like, holy crap. I mean, it's got everything. It's the total, like, the Y2K, whatever the hell we call our time now. It's the 80s, 90s slasher flick for now. I mean, listen, it's not Citizen Kane or anything like that, but it's a...
Is it better than Sleepaway Camp 2?
Yes.
All right, well then, worth a watch. That's my barometer. Better than Sleepaway Camp 2? Okay, I'll watch it. So
what do
that
you
sounds
got?
cool. I got to check that. Is it on demand?
Yeah, I had to pay per view it. It's not on Netflix.
All right, I'll check that out.
Worth it.
Babies. All right, well, I got a movie to suggest for you. And the title, I mean, this is a really serious movie. It's called Zombeavers, which sounds like a total porn. I went into this with great trepidation. I was almost going to buy it on pay-per-view. And then it popped up on Netflix. And I was like, all right, it's free. Let me just take a rider on it. Because I've seen movies like this, like Sex Squatch and stuff. And it seems whoever makes these movies is always Gravitas Films. Whenever I see the Gravitas logo, I'm like, well, I'm done. I have gravitated away. This was not Gravitas. This was done by people who know exactly what they have on their hands. It's about zombie beavers. Opens up with two dudes driving like toxic waste in the truck, and one of the dudes is Bill Burr.
Oh, I love Bill Burr.
So, right off the bat, it's going to be funny. Bill Burr is freaking hysterical. And of course, something falls off the truck, lands by a dam. with a
Oh,
bunch
so
of
this is
beavers.
basically Eight-Legged Freaks, except it's Zombeavers.
It's beavers. The cool thing is, it's all practical effects, so it's not CGI.
Oh, great.
So even though it looks cheesy as hell sometimes, that's the awesome part of it. Reminded me a little bit of Critters. Remember that movie? But it's three girls, and they're all just jerks. And then three guys who are complete douchebags. So there's six effing morons that you hate. And they're in this cabin because they want to party. And then the Zombeavers are attacking them one by one. It was funny. It's not Dale and Tucker versus Evil funny, but it's funnier than Wolf Cop.
Is Wolf Cop any good?
Wolf Cop is good. Wolf Cop is strange. Wolf Cop has the most bizarre sex scene of a dude changing into a werewolf while he's having sex with a woman, and she's still going for it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, both of those are on my queue, but Zombeavers is like my next movie to watch.
I had more fun with Zombeavers. The girls in Zombeavers are really cute. Zombeavers also, they did something in the movie where they telegraph something in the beginning and you think, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen here. And then they just say, no, sucker. So they thought outside the box a little bit, which I appreciated.
Oh, good.
So, and then once you watch it, you'll just spend the next 2 days going, Zombeavers. Zombeavers. But I give them thumbs up. It was funny, good practical effects, and like Sharknado, where they know Sharknado was a turd. Sharknado is a turd in every way. It looks awful. The story's awful. The acting is awful. At least this was a little bit more elevated than something like a Sharknado. So give it a shot.
That's next on my list.
Awesome.
All right. Well, that's plenty of stuff for people to watch. I think the least that people could do is buy some of your books, maybe share some of our videos, like our damn Facebook page for a change, and
yeah, you've come over to huntershade.com. I have a newsletter now, so sign up for the newsletter there because I got some special stuff that's going to come out in June for people who signed up. And
information about our appearance at Scares That Care this year.
Scares That Care in Virginia, July 24th, is it? 25th? Yeah, right around there. That's going to be fun. So you come on down to Scares That Care in Virginia and you meet us, and we'll have a beer with you.
And we got a Twitter account, which I've probably already flashed in post-production, but
there it is.
Monsterman13 on Twitter, so follow us there as well as our other Twitters.
And we promise next episode we're going to get into the Monster Man studio and be together live, finally.
Well, we don't totally promise that, but that's our plan.
I totally promise.
All right, so you have a good night.
You too, and everybody go watch movies and report.
And we'll see you next time on
Monster Man.
Grr, arg.